What's up, spooky buttercups? Welcome back to my channel. Today's book tag is Beauty in Books tag, and thank you to Albert and Jen for tagging me, and of course shout out to Rueben and Emily for creating this tag. Now, this took me quite some time to figure out, so I don't know if my answers will be up to par as others, so I'm gonna do my best. The first question is beauty in concept, and I'm gonna go with Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. This is, I would argue, and I think, well, many people argue, the first ever vampire gothic novel. It's actually a novella, but who's really, you know, being precise, some people, but it's okay. I really appreciated the vibe and the aesthetics and the writing of Carmilla. Compared to Dracula, yes, I read Dracula first. I gave that 3 stars. Carmilla is 5 perfect stars. And there is just a beauty in the first ever. Maybe there's another first ever. I think some people say parts of Gilgamesh. You could argue this one character, and I'm blanking, could be a vampire. But, like, vampires as we know it, Carmilla was the first. However, Dracula really made it popular, and there are not really conspiracy theories, but I can't think of another word, and I'm so sorry, but like a conspiracy theory of Sheridan Le Fanu knowing and even working with Bram Stoker, and like how much did they talk about vampires, and unfortunately Sheridan died, and then shortly after Bram Stoker wrote and published Dracula. And so what would Sheridan say about Dracula? We don't know, but there are a lot of similarities, and I'm not digging on Bram Stoker, but we just don't know a lot of things about their interactions. Like, they worked for similar people. So, I mean, you could say in Ireland, which is not a big country, and in the same area, they probably met at least once, if not many times. And you're seeing, if you read both books, how similar they can be. Of course, I just prefer Carmilla and the writing and the storytelling a bit more than Dracula. I think that Carmilla is more fleshed out and more cleanly put together. Number 2, beauty in opening lines, and I'm going with The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, and I think Jen also chose this as well. It's because we're just twinning, okay? But I recently read this book, and yeah, the first line really drew me in, and I'm also going to just share the second line because that's just great as well. It's all great, okay? We love to see greatness. No living organism can continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality. Even larks and katydids are supposed by some to dream. That's the first sentence. The second sentence, Hill House, not sane, stood by itself against its hills, holding darkness within. It had stood so for 80 years and might stand for 80 more. Now, this was a very gothic, creepy, spooky, psychological book. I gave it 4 stars. I also did a book review, minimal spoilers, so check that out if you're interested. But I read this at the end of August 2024, and it is a great setup for spooky season. And I think the first paragraph, not just the first and second sentences, but the first paragraph, amazing. Number 3, beauty in character, and I'm going with Demon from Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. It is as if Demon, his real name Damon, is a real life person. You can pull out Demon, hypothetically, from Demon Copperhead, slap him in real life, you know, just magically create him into a human being as is in this world, and he would be a fully functioning human. And I love when writers do that. And that's what I aim when I'm writing. I want to have a fully fleshed out human being with and without flaws. Like that's everyone. Everyone has flaws, and everyone has strengths as well. And that is Demon in a nutshell. I highly recommend Demon Copperhead. That is one of my favorite books of all time. Number 4, Beauty Admits Pain. I'm going with Terran Wanderer by Lloyd Alexander. Now, I gave this book 4 stars on Goodreads, though it's like 3.5 in my mind. But I truly do think that this book, if I were reading it when I was younger, and just like anyone reading it when they're younger, like preteen, right? They would connect way more to Terran as he wanders around his world, Pryden, because he is the assistant pig keeper to a psychic pig, right? And the first and second and even third books in the Chronicles of Pryden, he is really proud and stubborn. He does do good. He does. Sometimes he messes up just like everyone, but he is really focused on doing good deeds. But what eats at him is he doesn't know his parents, and so he's trying to win someone's heart. I'm not gonna, spoil it, but that someone is higher ranking than him, and so he's really just painfully aware of that, and he doesn't like that. And so he, in this book, goes around trying to figure out who his parents are to see if he can then marry this someone and kind of be like on the same ranking. But then at the end, kind of sort of this book, but more so in the 5th and final book, The High King, he realizes maybe that's not important. And that is something he really has to grapple with for Terran Wanderer and into The High King. But it wraps up nicely at the end of the 5th book, I think. Number 5, Beauty in Incompleteness. And I'm going with Tender is the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I know that that was an incomplete book. And so my godmother had a very old, like, soft hardcover, like it's cloth. I don't know how to describe it. So sorry. But that's what was published during her time, and she grabbed a copy, and I don't know where I put that copy. I hate it. I hate that I don't have it. I tried to read it, and I was like, yeah, I can definitely see that it could have been great, but it's not. But F. Scott Fitzgerald died, so he couldn't finish it and edit it to its, best conclusion, right? But in a way, I think a lot of people like Tender is the Night because of that. It's like an interesting mix of appreciation and confusion. That's how I felt. I didn't rate it because, like, it's not complete. It's not edited. They just, published what was there. So even that kind of adds mystery to it, for me at least. Number 6, Beauty in Place. And I'm going with the Del Toro Quest book series by Emily Rada. I fell in love with the whole world of Del Toro when I was a kid. That book series got me into writing and reading, mainly reading, and then I kind of jumped into writing because I was just so inspired. Like, wow, someone could come up with this type of world and it makes sense. That was kind of mind-blowing for a middle schooler, okay? So I was like, I am deep in this world. I want this world to be real, but it can't be because, high fantasy. So that really jump-started me reading fantasy in general. And then, of course, over the years, you expand into different genres. And it got me into writing in a way, because if she could create an amazing world, I could work really hard to do that as well. Number 7, Beauty in Time. I'm going with Outlander the book series by Diana Gabaldon, even though I have lots of issues with Outlander. But when I'm thinking about time travel, my automatic thought is Outlander, because it is done very well, the time traveling and how that connects, and I'm not going to spoil it because that's the whole kind of point of the book, right? Or books, it's the whole point of the books. So if you're into time travel, history, romance, a little bit of sci-fi, Outlander is for you. Number 8, Beauty and Catharsis. And I'm going with Everything, Everything by Nicola Yoon, which is not discussed all that much. There was a controversy about this book. The main character has a very, very rare illness, and so she can't go out of the house. And then people were saying, oh, that's not what the symptoms of the illness is. Well, that's actually kind of the point, because she's not been given the full truth about her illness. And so that unravels throughout the book, and it kind of comes to a head when she meets a boy. But you know, she's a teenager, and like, hello, that's usually how that works, and things happen. I'm trying not to spoil the book, but also connect it to the prompt. I honestly would not listen to the people that say that the illness is not accurate, therefore it's offensive, therefore don't read the book. That's actually the point. That's the point. And you have to be like really focused on the details throughout that novel. It's young adult, standalone, contemporary. I don't think it's romance. It's just a contemporary young adult book. I read it quite a few years ago, but really enjoyed it. 5 stars. And you have to focus on the illness and the main character, and then the parental figure and how that's working out throughout the novel, and really hone in on what the parent is doing to the teenager. That's all I can say, because then I spoiled the whole thing, and some people might even say that I spoiled most of the book by just saying that like the illness is not accurate, but that's the point. Sorry, but I think you should go read it. Now, the last prompt is not really a prompt, it's tagging people, and if you're watching, please do this tag. And I also tag Nim, Greg, Alan, and Bad. Thank you so much for watching Beauty in Books tag. Shout out to everyone who tagged me and the creators once again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!